Hello, 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 hello. I think it's the same again. I can't see or hear you. But I've got my phone here. So I'm kind of hoping that I'll be popping up. Yes, I got it. I'm going to put the comments on there. Wonderful. Just checking you can hear me. Hello, Marianne. Hello, hello, hello. Just checking you can hear me okay. I can see that I can see me, so I know that's okay, but I've obviously got the sound turned down when I'm watching myself there. So just let me know you can hear me okay. That would be great. Hello, Monica. Hello, my love. Okay, so hello, Annabelle. Okay, so a couple of things. This is our last session together. It's been amazing. I mean, like, I have loved every single minute of this. And for me, it supported me so much to anchor what I've needed to anchor going forwards into 2026. And my hope that it supported you in some way to clear, to shift whatever it is, to complete out whatever it is that you've been needing to make that shift with. And there will be some of you that want to go deeper with me. And so what I'm going to do is next week, I will be doing another session where I'm going to go into my 3 main containers. So remember how I spoke about on the first session all about environment, and like the environments you place yourself in are really important. And so you may feel called to come and work deeper with me next year, and I have 3 main. One is the Mystic Manifester, the other is the Star Guardians, and the third is Ascension Vortex Immersion. There's a slight difference. I've been running Ascension's Vortex now. I think this will be coming into my 5th year, I think. 4th or 5th, actually, I'm 100% sure. And I'm doing things slightly differently with that. I mean, I have about a 90% people come back every year. Once they're in, they kind of come back every single year because it supports them so much. So there may be some of you in the Earth Star Guardians who feel, you know what, I want to go deeper. And so like Ascension Vortex is my, the container where we work with a hologram at that level. Like we're working with the divine hologram, working with your hologram and supporting you. So it's really a lot for people that really want to accelerate their ascension process. And for a lot of them, I find, not all of them, but for a lot of them, they feel that they've got some sort of purpose, some sort of mission. They might not know what it is exactly, but they've got a calling. They feel they've got a calling. And that's where I support people at that level. So if you have any questions about any of those 3 containers or want to know more, I invite you to come and join me next week. We'll let you know when it is. I think it's supposed to be Tuesday, I think, at 4 p.m. Or you might be watching the replay, which means it may well already be up for you, depending on when you're watching it. Okay, I just got confirmation that the sound is all good. That's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, so holograms. Oh, actually, that was the second thing I wanted to talk about. So just as a recap over the last 3 sessions, it was something that came to me that I kind of wanted to share with you. And it was like another level of the difference between the quantum energetics and the foundational energetics, these 2 different. And what I've noticed with people, now I work with both, because you need both. Like you need one without the other is like you're not functioning at your most optimal, right? And I feel going forwards, this is going to get more and more pronounced, because we have got 2026. Yes, thank you, Angela. We're going to say Tuesday at 5 p.m. Thank you. We have got Neptune going into Aries. So you've got, and again, you may be watching this and we're already there with Neptune in Aries. But what's happening with that dynamic of energetic wise, and we've not seen that for 165 years, is that there's going to be an absolute explosion, like a mass awakening at a spiritual level. But it's not going to be spirituality in the shadow Piscean way. It's going to be very, very different. It's going to be much more embodied. So what that means is the mystic has to become embodied. The light worker needs to become embodied, which means those spiritual frequencies need to come down into the foundational energetics. Really important, otherwise it's going to go nowhere. And so that's a big aspect of the mystic manifesto. And you will know the difference, and you'll notice a difference with me. So when you're getting your ahas, right, if you're listening to me and you suddenly get some inspiration, and you're able to, what I mean is you're able to track what I'm saying, I'm generally in the foundational energetics. We're shifting your perception, the way you're thinking, and maybe shifting your feeling, your emotional, what's going on at that level. When I shift and start talking more in quantum energetics, that's kind of when you'll go loopity-loop, as in you'll kind of go ungrounded, you'll get very altered, you won't really, you'll hear me, but you won't really hear me. It's like your logical, rational brain is not really engaged. It's like you're listening at a different level. So you'll generally not have questions about what I'm talking about, the quantum aspects, because it's kind of just too much for it's like you can't actually understand it with a rational brain. You literally cannot understand it. When you're working at a foundational level, you can understand it. You can literally use the logic and rational to kind of work through things at that mental plane level, and then connecting in with your feelings to shift your feelings. But at the quantum energetics, when someone is channeling those sort of codes, you're listening with a different part of who you are, because your brain, in your rational brain, it's impossible for your rational brain to fully understand it because of the level of the consciousness behind it that you're having to assimilate it. However, you will feel at a level that you are understanding it. But what I normally say to people, you'll know that you haven't really, because if someone then asked you, oh, what did you learn from that? And you'll be at, well, it was, yeah, I think it's that kind of like, try to actually explain it and talk about it for about 10-15 minutes, and you won't. You won't. And that's because you've taken it in at a certain level, but it's not embodied. It's not embodied. And so when I'm working with you at that quantum energetics, that's when I'm working with the Crystal Merkaba Grid Journey, when I'm working with the planetary codes, and when I'm working at a holographic level with the holographic blueprint sessions, which I will talk about in this session. And so that's more, you get to experience the energy. We go very altered when I do these sessions. And it's really just about being in the moment and about being in the heart and getting imprints of energy. You're getting imprinted with energy. And then through those imprints and through those activations, you're then moving it forward in terms of integrating that. So it's like, that's the embodiment. So you get the activations, you get the imprint at that multi-dimensional level. And then what happens is we then work with that mystic manifester energy, the decoding, recoding, and realignment, for those high frequency codes to come through into your mental plane, shift your perceptions, shift your programming, to then come all the way through into your emotions. So you're shifting the way you're feeling, and then it's coming into your physical body, and then it's literally embodied. And so that's why I feel it's so important to be working with both. One is not more important than the other. You need both, because you are multidimensional, and you are physical, and you have an emotional body, and you have a mind, a mental body as well. So to me, it's about working the full spectrum of who you are. So in this session, I would like to share with you another one of the main codes of the Aquarian codes, and that is sovereignty. So you probably heard me say how the very core of who you are is your hologram. And so it's like your hologram comes from your blueprint. So your blueprint is a scaffolding. It's what makes up, it's what's templated in your energy field, right? That then all of that literally creates a hologram. So another way you could look at it is that when you look at it from sacred sites, is how certain grids, because grids create holograms. So certain grids, or where you've got an accumulation of ley lines which create a very potent grid, then creates a hologram. And so when I either step into a sacred site physically or energetically, I can read that hologram. I can read the hologram. And it's a bit like, as I can read that hologram, I can read people's blueprints. So when I work with people one-to-one, I can tap into their blueprint. And then what I do through that is support people to see maybe aspects of themselves that they haven't seen or haven't connected to, and support them to shift potentialities through that. So what has been occurring, really, I would say 2020, from 2020 onwards, is that there's been a literal shift of our blueprint, right? So the blueprint, your blueprint, creates your hologram. Your hologram basically is through which your reality is created. And a hologram or blueprint or hologram is shifting collectively on the planet. This is why everything is going on at a level of, when you're looking at it through spiritual technology eyes, that is why. And all the astrological events, all the solar flares, all of this energy that's coming onto the planet, including 3i Atlas and everything that's going on, is activating each one of our blueprints to shift the blueprint. And the shift of the blueprint is going from our personal blueprint into our divine blueprint. You could say from a kind of 3D matrix into the divine matrix, the divine hologram, the divine blueprint. And that is happening for everybody. Every single one of us is going through this, and there are all sorts of things that are happening on the planet that are because of the collapse of the old matrix. Now, there's nothing that we can do about the collapse. That is just happening. But what we can do to support ourselves is to connect into, stabilize and crystallize our new blueprint. Now, it's not a new blueprint as in it's brand new. We always had it. It's just that it's being activated within each one of us, right? So it is a new blueprint as in it's been dormant for the last 2,000 years or so. But what's happening now is that through all the activity and so much light codes coming onto the planet and shifting the planet, it's shifting each one of us. Now, some people in that collapse are struggling. Annabelle, I've got your question. I've got your back. I'm going to be answering that at the end. Okay, my love? So some people are like holding on, like they don't want to let go because they're fearful of letting go, because what they're holding on to is what's kept them anchored. It's what they know. It's what's kept them, what they thought is safe. And it means if they let go, a bit like the Sedna, the story of the goddess Sedna, where her father was trying to put her into a boat, tried to get rid of her, but she clung onto the boat and like, I'm not going anywhere, I'm going to hold on to this boat. He chopped off her fingers, and it's not a nice story. Chopped off her fingers, she sunk to the bottom of the sea, and then all her fingers became all these beautiful sea creatures, and she transformed herself through going to the bottom of the sea. This is very Neptune energy, right? This very Piscean energy, going for the watery depths, going to the subconscious. She was able to then go for the transformation. You cannot go for the transformation if you're clinging on, right? Clinging on and trying to control everything. And so when we go through those dark nights of the souls, which we all do, right? To me, that's why working with the inner mystic is one of the most powerful things that you can do to support yourself. Because when you're going through a very deep one of these dark nights of the souls, what are you going to hold on to when everything is collapsing around you? You're going to hold on to, and you're going to connect into, it's like the breakdown to the breakthrough. Because you're needing to break down all those protection layers so that you can come to the deeper essence of who you are. And so that's really by going within, knowing thyself and connecting to the truth of who you are. And this is that decoding, that recoding, and that realignment process. So one way to look at it, so one of the ways I explain it is like, just imagine the goldfish, you know, one of these little bowls of water, just swimming round and round and round and round and round and round. And that's all, it doesn't know, the goldfish doesn't know it's in water, but that space, the water in the bowl, is dictating how big the goldfish can grow and dictating where the goldfish can grow, right? Now, imagine that you now took that bowl with the goldfish in and poured it into this huge, huge lake. Suddenly, the goldfish has got so much more to explore, has got access to so much more, and can grow. There was nothing wrong with the goldfish. It was the environment that it was in that created the constriction. So that's one way that you can see the hologram. But when we're shifting, when we shift, because this hologram is shifting, and although each one of us is being impacted by that, it doesn't mean that you can just sort of sit back and kind of stay as you are. It's literally pushing you not to stay as you are, because suddenly you're being poured into this huge, vast lake. But you may still, in your head, because of all previous experiences you've had through this lifetime and past lifetimes, know yourself to be and to live and express yourself in a certain way. And it's almost like you still feel or believe that there's this kind of glass bowl, this glass ceiling all around you, like you can't do more of this, or you can't experience that, that's not for me, and it's there, when actually it's not anymore. And the truth was, it never really was at all. But there was so much patterning and conditioning. But because the whole world is under this influence now, the opportunities for accelerating our own ascension is incredible. And I've been saying this now for the last year or so, for those of, which is all of you, by the way, but for those of you light workers, healers, you know, anyone, any mystics, creatives, this is our time. Because there's this mass awakening because of the shift, the hologram. And what happens when that fish, the goldfish, goes into this massive, massive lake? It's really destabilizing. Go in overwhelm, feel really destabilized, anxiety, disorientated. You don't know which way is up. Identity crisis. Who am I anymore? I knew myself to be this because my reality was all around this. but yet I'm feeling something so much more bigger going on around me. All these things are leaving or dissolving or shifting around me. Who am I now? What's really going on? And so for those of us who are spiritually tuned in, who are spiritually connected, there's going to be a whole wave of people through this continuing of collapse. And it could be impacting them in all different ways. It could be impacting them in their relationships. It could be impacting them in the career, in the job. It could be impacting them through a health crisis. In all different ways, we'll be turning to and looking for support. They'll be looking for someone or different people at different times to help them understand and help them navigate that journey for them. And because we've got Neptune coming into Aries, so it's been Neptune's in Pisces. So I did a whole transmission for those people in emergence on this, but very quickly, just because we've had Neptune in Pisces for the last 14 years. This has been the whole arena to kind of, because Pisces is the end of the zodiac, right? So it's like the last part. The next time we'll have Neptune in Pisces will be another 165 years. So we've come to a whole endings, a whole completions. And what that means is that we're completing all of those old, like I was saying in last session, Piscean shadow energies. The savior complex. Like, maybe you felt you've got to help everybody. You've got to save people, right? Or maybe you've done, I think a lot of it, for a lot of people, it's around sacrifice. Somehow you've been sacrificing yourself or had to sacrifice yourself. Now, a lot of this will stem back from many, many lifetimes because we're completing a massive, massive cycle right now. We're completing a 165-year cycle, but we're also completing a 2,000-year cycle. We're ending the Piscean cycle, which I've been talking about, right, in the last 3 sessions. And so we're really now making sure we're completing all of that so that we can go into Neptune in Aries. This is spirituality embodied. As in, it's not about the spiritual you is over here and then the rest of your life is over here. It's not that anymore. Not that. And so people are going to be just feeling drawn and called to bring the two together, which means there's going to be needing to work on the quantum energetics as well as the foundational energetics, right? So that it's embodied. And what we're going to see is we're going to see a lot new modalities, a lot new ways of working with spirituality, with working with spiritual energies, because it's the whole new beginnings around spirituality, and it's embodied spirituality. So it's like the age of Pisces was supporting us to connect to our spirituality, right? And we did that in different ways, but often it would meant some sort of form of sacrifice or giving away of power over, all of this that I've been speaking about. And as we come into the age of Aquarius, this is the sovereignty. This is about the individual now. This is about your direct connection to source. This is about your uniqueness. and the unique way that you express and radiate out your divinity, your divine sense of self. And this is what we've got with this shifting of holograms. Now, that shifting of holograms, what's really happening is the light codes are activating the dormant codes in our hologram that are switching on our divine blueprint. And that gets accelerated and supported through work, like the work that I do with working with a planetary grid. And that's why I was saying in the other session how I feel, again, this is Neptune in Aries, is how I feel it's this whole new way of working with our ascension process is going to be through the grid. Because it affords you and allows you to connect and receive directly. Yes, I support the access point. I'm sharing, because this is my gift, I'm sharing what some of those codes are, but it's about you connecting directly in and receiving those imprints and getting activated in the way that you need to get activated. And so as you step more in to your divine matrix, because it's that matrix within you, right, that you're crystallizing and solidifying, the more you are able to connect to the universe and therefore absorb higher frequencies of light, higher elements, pranic elements, that then nourish and feed your energetic system, right? Because the more light, for you to be able to sustain yourself in higher and higher light vibrations, you're going to need to crystallize more, right? And again, that's why working with the planetary codes supports you to do that. And so as you crystallize your light body more and your divine hologram, your divine blueprint comes more and more online, it then starts to activate more of your unique codes. It starts to activate more of your higher chakras, right? So that's your Earth Star chakra, your causal chakra, your Soul Star chakra, your Stellar Gateway chakra. And those start to get stimulated more and work more. And that's where you start to get even more unique in the codes and the awareness and the understandings that you bring through. Neptune in Aries. Bring the spirituality, the mysticism, and new beginnings of that on the planet. Literally new formulas, new modality, new systems, new processes are going to come more through, more and more and more, as each one of us solidifies and crystallizes more into our uniqueness. And again, this is like comes round to the Aquarian technology, right? So the spiritual technology, yeah, as well as the scientific technology. It's both. So this is what I'm sensing. This is what I'm feeling. And with Neptune in Aries, there is a lot around courage. It's brand new beginnings. You will not have a template for this. Humanity won't have a template for this, really. So again, you have to pull on your own inner mystic to trust yourself and move forward with that trust. It's almost like you make the choice and then the universe has your back. It's not the other way around. So I had a question come through from Annabelle. I haven't got the question in front of me, but I'm going to kind of paraphrase it. And it was something along the line is, how do I know, what my aligned gifts are? So I'm going to kind of look at it from another point of view. And I would say all your gifts are there for you to use, right? So I think what you were probably trying to say is, correct me if I'm wrong, but like going forwards, kind of what's my mission? Like what is it I'm meant to be doing? What gifts am I meant to be using? Right? And there are so many layers to that question. But I just want to touch on a couple of them. So the first thing to say is that for so many of us, we are bringing through new soul missions, or we are deepening and refining what we've been working on over the last few years or so. And it's like a big part of our ascension process is that next step. It's that step of getting out there more. It's like the way you're going to grow is through that. Like that is your ascension journey now, right? And so there's a lot involved around that. So first of all, what's involved around that is just even connecting with your gifts, knowing what those gifts are, and claiming those gifts. So we have gifts like psychic, all different types of psychic gifts that are all linked in with your clairsenses, right? But there's also gifts that are going to come through, a bit like me for my holographic blueprint technology and my crystal Merkaba grid technology that are unique to me. And again, that takes a lot of faith and trust, and working with your inner mystic, working with your mystic manifester to deepen into that. As you connect to those gifts, then you've got to trust yourself. You've got to trust what's coming through, and you've got to claim it and own it and be it, like you are it. So there is a shift of identity that will need to make place. So this is all the work that I do inside the Ascension with my Ascension Vortex members, is all of this, because it's big. There's a lot around that. Then it's a question of, well, how do I know what to do to move forward? Like, how do I know where to deepen? Well, 80% of the population are actually function through like a response mechanism. So it's like it feels right. Now that doesn't mean it doesn't feel uncomfortable. It probably was going to feel uncomfortable, but it's like you feel within you that you're just attracted to doing that. It's like you just want to deepen into that. It's something, what you're looking for is something that lights you up from within. My suggestion is you follow that pull. It won't make logical, rational sense too, but that's not what we're talking about. It's not what we're talking about. So it's about following that pull and deepening into that wherever it takes you. And of course, for some of us, we're scared of making a mistake. But for some of our blueprints, the so-called mistakes, and there's never really a mistake, but what you would perceive as a mistake, but it didn't work out, was invaluable, because then that's what you can then share for others going forwards. So you become that sort of way of you're like the experimenter. And that's part of how I work, is I experiment. I'll try different things out. Will that work? Oh no, that didn't work. But then when that didn't work, I can share that. And it's in the sharing that there's part of my gift. Because that's the way that you embody. You embody by doing it. So if you get a gift or something comes through and you're not utilizing it and you're not working with it, you're not integrating it into your everyday life, that's like, to me, the shadow Pisces energy. It's like, we'll keep our spiritual side locked up over here. It's not part of my day-to-day, moment-to-moment living. It's not it anymore. It's not going to work. It's just your life's not going to work for you. Because this is not the energy that we're in anymore. And that's why so many of us have been having to close out and complete so much, especially in the last few years, so that we can move forwards in a way that's not entangled with the old Piscean shadow karmic stuff. So that we can go forwards with courage, with strength, with a devotion, with a commitment to our sacred mission. And to a devotion and a commitment to knowing that whatever is going on is as part of our becoming. It's supporting us to step into more of our becoming, of your becoming. Whether that's because you're moving forward because you're clear on your mission, or you have some sort of idea around where it is you want to focus your energy and put the full force of your energy behind that, or whether you're going through a dark night of the soul and that's all in support of you becoming more of the truth of who you are. Because we're all into different cycles within that. Yes, finding out what is unique to us, even if we don't have all the pieces together. But you're only going to find out what's unique to you by doing the do, by moving forwards. It's the decisions and the choices that you make that literally direct your path, and the universe then comes up to meet you. It's like you need to make that choice first. It's like you have to commit to your future self. Not the old part of you. Not all the times where it went wrong and, oh my goodness, that wasn't right and I don't know, I can't believe myself. No, you're having to commit to your future sense of self, to whom you are becoming. And from 2026, the energy is so much about that expansion, about that moving forward. So we're going to be in that energy field where you're going to feel the push. You're going to feel the pressure. But there's a difference between pressure and stress. Because you're going to feel stretched because you are being stretched, because you're being stretched to go outside of your comfort zone to be more of who you are becoming. So with that Piscean hologram that we were in, it was like God was outside of ourselves. We had to go through different people or institutions who would connect us into God. The Aquarian hologram, the Aquarian codes, no. We are directly connected. We were always directly connected, right? It's just that we forgot, and we had so much patterning that we forgot. So it's really about a remembering and a moving forwards with that awareness. So money is not outside of you. Abundance is not outside of you. It's just you thought you had to go out and get it. No. It's about calibrating and aligning to the divine. And knowing that you were never really disconnected, you just believed you were. And it's moving through your world, your day-to-day life, connected to your divinity, to your divine sense of self, through your quantum coherence, where your past, your future, and your present collapse into one. And that's the work that I do with my holographic blueprint sessions. And I do this every week for Ascension Vortex. So with that technology, I'm working with 0 point consciousness. I'm working with specific sacred geometry. And it's like, the way I explain it is like I deepen into that myself and be that, like that quantum coherence within myself. It's all delegated via the goddess, via the heart. And as I'm holding that, then connect into that to recalibrate your own field to that. So it's like an entrainment. I suppose the best way I can describe that. And so again, people have all sorts of different experiences, and what we're doing is we're calibrating and retuning and activating those codes to strengthen and crystallize and solidify the divine hologram within each one of us, so that day to day we can sustain ourselves in that. It's like you carry a bubble all the way around you, right? And you're just in that reality. So the way you think, the way you feel, the actions you take, the behaviors you take, all delegated by that. It's like a reality that you create that stabilizes within you. And so instead of the old Piscean way of the sacrifice, the struggle, the giving your power away, it now becomes, how much more can I allow in? How much more joy can I embody? How much more peace can I embody? How much more abundance can I embody? How much more love can I embody? It's a very, very different way of being. Can you see the difference? Can you feel the difference between these two? So there is a myriad of possibilities and potentialities, right? But it's about receiving and opening up through your connection to source, through your connection to the divine, and being a conduit for that. So your soul mission is more to do with your connection to the divine and being a vessel for the divine than from your ego sense of self, of your soul mission. And so as you connect into your soul mission, it's about opening up and allowing the divine to flow through you more, allowing the abundance to flow through, because with soul missions, they often need funding, right? But we've had to release so much around the old Piscean viewpoints of sacrifice and martyrdom, and it's you can't have money and spirituality, or you can't have pleasure and spirituality. And so many of us have been having to clear that, and will continue to clear aspects of that. But now we're really stepping into that direct connection. And allowing ourselves to receive directly. But you can't receive directly whilst we had so much entanglement to that shadow Piscean, to those shadow Piscean codes. Okay then, my lovely. I'm just checking, is there any questions at all? So what you will have noticed, okay, Annabelle, so you dive deeper into the astrology for yourself. Whatever is calling you, whatever is drawing you, and obviously if you're into astrology, then yeah, I would be looking at your North Node, right? What is your North? Where is your North Node? Which house is your North Node in? Because that's going to be giving you some sort of understanding where you're being pushed outside of your comfort zone. Because all of us are going to be pushed outside of our comfort zone, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So if you have some sort of idea where that's kind of, which house theme that is, that will really support you. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, I have done got a whole container at the moment going on called Emergence, and I've gone through that to help people understand a little bit, help people kind of hone in a bit of what may be coming up for them. So just reading what they come through. Okay, so you will have noticed, okay, North Node is in the 12th house. So it's those 12th house themes, right? This is where you're being pushed more, is in those 12th house themes. So what you'll have seen is that I've been giving you some reflections to look at, to help start to stimulate, so that you can start to pull up, to examine, to look at, to be curious about, and so that you can start to shift your energy. So there'll be reflections for each of the different sessions, as well as activations, right? So what the activations do is they literally shift frequency. It's like they restructure your energy field, right? So I have my activation library. There's about 80 to 90 activations in there. So I've just given you like one or two so you can start listening to them and start to feel how they shift your energy field. I'm also gifting you like a sort of mini crystal Merkaba grid journey from Chartra. So that will be in there for you as well. So you get to experience what it's like to work at a more planetary level with me, because the technology is unique. Like, you will not have experienced this anywhere else, literally. And so I just wanted to be able for you to kind of be able to feel what that technology feels like. So I feel with that, and then I feel for this one, we'll bring through maybe a holographic session for you, so you can experience the holographic blueprint session for yourself as well. If you have any questions about anything, you can email in to support@Chloe-Cousins, or contact one of my lovely team members. Either you've got Angela there, you've got Emma there, you can message them. And I will connect with you again for our last session, but that last session is going to be like a kind of a deep dive into ways that you can move forward with me, and we're going to look at my 3 containers that I have, and if you've got any questions about them, you can write them down or come live and ask me then. Okay then, my lovelies, have an amazing rest of the day, and I will connect with you very, very soon. So much love. Bye-bye.